All right, welcome back, Dads, to Dad's Gone Crypto. I'm Crypto Dad Sean and my co host, Crypto Dad Brian. Today, we are diving into the groundbreaking world of DeFi.Gold. And one of the visionary founders, David Nikzad, is that right? Nikzad?
Yep, David Nikzad, correct.
Perfect. We'll explore the origins of this innovative platform, the cutting edge tech driving it, and how it's set to revolutionize the crypto landscape. Plus, we uncover how the Ruins Launchpad is changing the game for new projects. Stay tuned for an episode packed with insight, stories, and opportunities you won't want to miss. Welcome, David, to the show. We're excited to learn more about you and your latest project.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very great meeting you guys as well.
Yeah, you too. Thanks a lot for coming on here. So to kick things off, David, can you tell us a bit about how DeFi.Gold came to be? What inspired the team to create the platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the way things unravel, especially being an angel investor as long as I have, is things are longitudinal and things take time. And I feel like this has sort of been almost a decade plus journey. So I was involved with Y Combinator early. I was actually in the investor batch with Coinbase in 2013. And we were involved in a number of companies that were in that batch that helped facilitate Coinbase. A lot of people don't know this, but Coinbase was actually a crowdfunded company. They couldn't raise all their money, and there was a company called Founders Club that helped them close their $600,000 round. And we were very big in the plant medicine side. We were very big in crowdfunding. It also funded a company in the same batch called Serica Pay, which was a Bitcoin to gold arbitrage to pay for cannabis. And you have to understand, this was all in the same batch of Y Combinator very early, almost like, looking at Y Combinator in the last 2 years, how they've gone all into AI. And I think at that time, these industries were very progressive, very ultra client. And it's interesting to see almost a decade later where our family office has come to, where, the company we were involved with, Serica Pay, actually got in trouble with the law and the DOJ and FinCEN, and everybody got involved, and it actually got shut down. And, years later, getting into the ICO boom, and, we were looking to launch the first security token, 17, it almost took us a decade to get comfortable getting back into the crypto space where we were going to be involved in launching a DeFi exchange for Bitcoin. For the longest time, my co-founder and I were very wary of we're very ultra compliant people, and he's a securities lawyer. And we had a friend of ours, which was very early into Bitcoin, 2010. We had already done a bunch of deals together, and he was like, well, why don't you guys come in? This thing is, pretty much built out, and partner with us. And, you guys can be involved with something, as we've been calling the third wave, sort of, you had the ICO boom, and then you had like the 2020, 2021, I call it the year of DeFi. And now we're in this like third boom of what I would say investors coming into crypto, which, in Hawaii, we always say the third wave is the biggest. So we're on this big wave, and shockingly, knock on wood, everything has gone really well with DeFi.Gold. And I don't think we could have launched it properly with all the compliance and everything if we didn't, if we hadn't gone through what we've gone through for the last decade.
Right. Wow.
Very interesting. And David, just some of your background experiences and skills and previous adventures that you were explaining, how did it allow you to, how did it add value to this current project and in growing it?
Yeah, so I've been an angel investor for 30 years. I actually used to design websites and do marketing and SEO work. And originally, I had an agency that we developed in equity and had been investing for over 30 years. And real estate, nightlife, technology. I got very, very much into the technology spectrum in the 2000s, like really started investing a lot. And then in 2009, after the whole blow up sort of in the real estate market, and, just had, I felt very fulfilled family office or a personal fund called Rainmaker, which ended up the premise of it was just investing based on a frequency of energy. And the funny part about it is, as all the banking crisis was going on and everything was blowing up, we actually invested in a group of people that had their own bank license. It was two guys that came out of Goldman Sachs, and they had told us that they had procured a bank and they were getting into robo advisory, self-automated investments. And they explained to us the whole thing about, people being incentivized to put you in deals, not because they're good deals, but just because they want to make money. And somewhat 14 years or 15 years later, being in that deal, we're managing almost $100 billion. We do a robo advisory for both fiat and crypto betterment. So I think that when I was looking at NVIDIA this morning as far as somebody investing in 1999 compared to where they are today. I don't think people really understand the gravitational value of what it takes to build a really, really big company. And I think, like, when I look at crypto and I look at all these new technologies, I actually think the point is going to be somewhere around like 2030. And that's going to give us, somewhat of 2 good decades of watching this technology perform.
Right. So speaking of building a big company, can you tell us about any of the, significant challenges that you faced early on with DeFi.Gold and how you guys overcame them?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most significant challenges first started talking about this over a year ago was both Shadan and myself and our partners having reservations of being like the front focus of the project, actually being known and being the founders, because so many people, there's a lot of projects where you don't even know the founders, like Shiba Inu, which, I came to know the founder, or came to know of the founder when I went to, he's a good friend of Coach K's, but nobody knows exactly who it is. You know what I'm saying? He has like 9 different pseudonyms. Right. So I think in the beginning when Shadan called me, we had a bit of reservations of, okay, we're going to launch this DeFi exchange. How do we do it where we're super compliant? So we had already been involved with a number of feeder funds and running out of Cayman and the BVIs. I was also on my way to going to live in Dubai. So it was also perfect timing to be in a situation where we knew that this project had to be funded outside of the US. And I was going to be living in Dubai, between Dubai and Thailand. And I was going to basically be the somewhat, marketing and fundraising part of the project. People know that Shadan and I are the main founders, which is fine. And I think that we couldn't have timed this better in terms of, there's going to be a new administration in the US. Obviously, things are opening up globally. And I think when you look at our backgrounds, like, a lot of people don't know this, but, we were involved with Prime Trust, that was the first company that did KYC AML. We're one of the first investors in Republic. So, when you go back 7 years ago, or, a lot of people don't know, Binance is just celebrating their 7th birthday. So this space, for what it is and how big these companies are very, very, they're still very young. And I think that's why when people are calling me in the last 2 days and saying, should we sell all of our crypto? And for me, I woke up and I'm like, everything is on sale, Right. So yeah. We're in this critical mass moment, and I think whether people want to understand this or not, last night when the whole Ethereum thing, where the SEC released Ethereum and they're like, it's not a security, that's actually coming from the presidential administration to say, hey,
Yeah.
this election, which they probably won't, and we need to basically, just let people know we're pro crypto.
Right.
And that's the tough part about the US. But at the end of the day, I am back in the US now because I know that the US is on the verge of becoming, basically the biggest crypto market in the world. We are the biggest liquidity provider in the world, no matter what anybody says, even though we've destroyed this country. We are a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
And I hope I can always keep it real on this podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate it for sure.
Of course.
Yeah. So DeFi.Gold is going to be known as the first decentralized exchange and NFT marketplace on Bitcoin blockchain. Now, out of all the up and coming technologies and all the technologies, why Bitcoin?
Because we all got into Bitcoin early. We all are, I don't think we're Bitcoin maxis. I think there's, when we look at like total FDV or total supply or total value, and you look at Bitcoin is still ultimately the dominant, it's the number one coin. And we've never unlocked that value. There's so many people I know in Dubai that are 100 million or billion-dollar plus owners, and they want to play with their Bitcoin. And I think that I look at something like Solana or Ethereum, and I look at how slow Solana is, which I know they're making an upgrade, but I today with all the technology behind it, yeah, meme coins are here to stay, building communities through meme coins. So to be able to use this product that has trillions of dollars worth of value, and candidly, in the next couple of years, I see, the total market cap of Bitcoin doubling or tripling. Why wouldn't we want to unlock the value of that where we can use Lightning and RGB and Taproot and runes? Bitcoin L1 that supports all of those technologies. We're actually the only company that has built everything from scratch to be able to do this. And, we're super excited. And I think when you look at the founder of this project, who was, also involved with the original founders of Ethereum and was one of the guys to help with Google TV, he has the technology background to build this. At who we're going to partner with or who we're going to JV with, we're always looking at people that have, not to say failed, but they've been in a space a long time. It might have not worked out for them in the past, or they didn't have their big win, and now they're coming to build something phenomenal. And yes, Shadan has had some really good wins. He had actually one of the largest go public mining company in Canada, but he really wanted to somewhat end his legacy where he started with Bitcoin. And we actually didn't know if it would take off as fast as it did, but we ended up raising almost $3 million in a couple weeks, had some of the biggest KOLs get involved, and the product is actually launching in the next couple weeks.
That's great.
Thanks.
So you guys are launching in a couple of weeks. Let's dive into the tech just a little bit. So DeFi.Gold supports non-custodial trading, NFTs, tokens, DAOs, derivatives. Can you break those features down a little bit for the audience here?
Yeah, I mean, the first product that's being released is the NFT marketplace, and I think that with the whole thing of ordinals and runes and all of that. I think it's a good start for test the waters. So, basically somewhat of an OpenSea competitor dedicated to Bitcoin. The secondary part of that, which we're going to launch our public sale on, is our own launchpad. So I, like any other product, things are going to shift. And, I can tell you in the last 2 years, Shadan has sort of shapeshifted this product 5 different times. It was going to be Taproot, and now we're in Runes, and obviously the token's going to be a Runes token, but we're also excited about RGB and stacks. So at the end of the day, what this product is going to be basically the pump.fun of Bitcoin, and using everything that we don't like of pump.fun and cleaning up the interface and everything, and basically the fair launch pad. And I think what's great about a product like pump.fun was we wanted to do that, and that was part of our idea. So when we saw it and we already had the technology behind it, it was like, okay, this is the time to do this. I'm a big metrics person, and the one thing, like I believe the other day, pump.fun revenue did more transaction volume and revenue than Uniswap did in a specific day. So when you look at that, and you look at that on a product like Solano, which I think Solano is a great product, but very, very slow. Whenever I try to do a transaction on Phantom, so difficult. You have a product, you have all these technologies like Lightning that you can now use to do the same thing for it's not to use this example, but it's like Ferrari versus racing a Toyota. It's going to be very, very different. I was going to say Ford versus Ferrari, but Ford ends up winning. But yeah, this is listen, as much as I love to play with other stuff, we always all come back to Bitcoin. And that is the gold standard. And we also own the domain DeFi.Gold from a long time ago. So everything kind of worked itself out. So that's sort of the underlying design of what we're going to put out there. And then later in the year, we're going to be having obviously a full DEX that you can swap in and out of anything. And we don't believe that before this time we could actually do this compliantly. So I think it's also a realm of like the perfect timing.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned Taproot, RGB, and Lightning Network transactions. For those listeners who are not quite familiar with those expressions, can you just give us a quick layman's terms on what they are and how does it enhance your platform?
Well, I think the better way to look at it is going back to like where the first sort of derivative of Bitcoin came to with something like Ordinals. So when I think a lot of people don't understand that with Bitcoin, you really couldn't do anything with your Bitcoin. So when it was a big deal. You could now use your BRC to buy into an NFT, and it was no longer about Ethereum or any of these other chains. And I think this all comes down to critical mass of how much more Bitcoin is out there. So as Ordinals came about, I don't think anybody expected the popularity in Ordinals. And then from Ordinals, we Taproot. And Taproot was this technology where you could basically have an L1 off of Bitcoin, and you could now, launch other products using Taproot. And I think with Runes, just the popularity that came out of Runes, and then watching them launch their own token dog, I don't think Runes, how would I put it, had the critical mass, wasn't as popular as it should be, but I think that's all part of the learning curve. I think people are starting. I also don't think there's enough platforms out there yet. Like there's Runes Terminal. There's going to be us. Like nothing was designed and ready for what was going to happen with Bitcoin. And the fact that you can add something like Lightning Network behind all of these technologies, basically run all of this much faster than Ethereum and Solano. So anybody I've ever talked to that is trying to do a transaction on Solano, it's horrible. You gotta mark for slippage. You're going to be front run on the trade, and then with Ethereum, you're always worried about the gas fees and everything else. So the idea of being able to solve for all of this with the technology of routing and then all these other technologies, we're able to give somebody just a much better product. And then, basically being able to do the way we're releasing the token through a bonding curve, and, the way we've mirrored the way Pump.Fund does the fair launch, I just think all of it just equates for just a better product. And I would say, not in a good or bad way, we appreciate that Ethereum and Solano and all of these other chains have done, because it's allowed us to refine to make the best product possible. Yeah. We actually needed to go through all of that to be able to build what we have today.
Yeah, it sounds like you're building something totally amazing. How do you see, DeFi.Gold changing the DeFi landscape? What makes it so much different from any other platforms out there?
Well, I think when you look at any product, and I'm going to go back to Y Combinator when Coinbase first launched. The idea of Coinbase in their 2-minute pitch was an interface to just be able to buy Bitcoin. So I think when you're working on a project like this, number one, our first intention is to basically have people wanting Bitcoin and wanting to be able to swap it. I mean, the fact that you go on a Phantom wallet and you can't swap Bitcoin to other products, it's annoying, to be honest with you. It's actually kind of weird. So the fact that we're able to do that, and we're able to allow you to swap between Bitcoin and basically anything else, so we found all of our, what I would say, we went out and we talked to all of our friends that were big Bitcoin maxis. And we found that the biggest problem with all of this was the on-ramps and off-ramps for Bitcoin. And I think that when I look at this product, it's a much bigger design, because we're also involved with different, what I would call Bitcoin banks, or different crypto banks that we're advising. So it's a lot of integrations. I look at Coinbase and I see what Coinbase is turning into. The way I look at this product is, we'll probably have our own credit card. We'll probably at some point do loans, collateralized loans. We're going to have a lot of derivative products coming out of this, just because people are going to be able to use their Bitcoin. And I think that unfortunately, you have people in the space, and they don't quite understand, like, when you look at the meme coin market today the meme coin market was 45 billion. When you look at the Bitcoin market today, it's almost $2 trillion. So those numbers you can't compare them. That's why for us, when I look at something like Bitcoin and I say, this is going to be a $4 to $5 trillion asset, get into the critical mass of saying, okay, now this product can be used for lots of different things with banking and home mortgages and credit cards. It's actually really funny that even today, for me to move money, crypto, from crypto to fiat in the US and move money to Canada is a pain in the ass. And like most people that are moving coin through an OTC desk, they're being charged like 2%. So nobody wants to do any level of a large transaction. So that's a lot of what we think about when we're designing this product, is how does this product become the perfect on-ramp, off-ramp product with the facilitation of a DEX and allowing people to play with their money. At the end of the day, I've always said this in public equities, the stock market is one big casino. And at the end of the day, we all want to play in the casino and try to, make more money. So I think the part of it, having this like LGP type launch pad and having this kind of pump.fun type fun to it as the casino, and then being able to use this as a DEX and something that's going to have the on ramp, off ramps of what you. Yeah, I mean it's the perfect combination, and then you add the fact that it's a totally DeFi decentralized exchange. I can tell you that any sophisticated Bitcoin maxi that I know never works on a centralized exchange.
Right.
So we kind of took every little thing that we heard from all of our friends and said, we want to design this perfect product.
It sounds like you're hitting it, so I can't wait to use it.
I mean, listen. I mean, it's again. I think it. You need wisdom before power, and I think that when you look at all the people that are involved, like people from Tether and people from Ethereum and all these big KOLs, we took them to the product and we said, destroy the product. Tell us everything that's and what you want to look, what you want this to be. And I'll tell you a funny part. A lot of people don't know this. Many people that talk about holding all these other coins, most of the KOLs and most of the guys that we had met still hold 90% of their portfolios in Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% true.
Yeah,
Bitcoin is the gold.
We went and even the guys, the younger guys that talk about Solano and, they're into everything else, they still keep the majority of their stuff in Bitcoin.
Yep.
So we found that very interesting also. And I'm a big, big fan of Coinbase, and I think Base is going to be huge. And what I look at is DeFi.Gold being able to empower, the Coinbases and the, Binances of. I think you need to have DeFi and the centralized exchanges working together.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly there.
Yeah,
David,
not everybody's going to know how to, work on a DeFi product, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah. With all this development and attraction of customers, exchanges are notorious for being hacked, and just basically where the money is brings bad actors. What is DeFi.Gold doing that provides extra layers of security and privacy for their users? Because that's obviously will be a big factor in where the institutions bring their money and where the big guys bring their money.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is we're a DeFi product. So again, you're handling your own wallet. We're not. I mean, I think that's the biggest part of being hacked. We don't want to control any of the money. So, I mean, I think that's the problem when I look at most centralized exchanges. Obviously, Binance and Coinbase have done a great job, but again, when we designed this product, we didn't want to have any custodial value to it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So the Runes Launchpad sounds fascinating. How does it differentiate itself from, other launchpads in the crypto space?
I think the biggest thing is just being able to launch your own coin within a couple of minutes. I mean, I think that's the big piece of it that we really liked with Pump.Fun. I mean, what I heard yesterday is there's almost 1,000 coins a day being launched on the market. So I think what I love to do, I've been in the capital markets for 30 years. I love going and talking to like the guys at Sequoia, which originally invested in a product called Webvan that was like a grocery delivery service that went to shit. And then they doubled down and they invested into Instacart, which ended up being, a big winner. So I think that you have to throw a lot of darts before you're going to hit the bullseye. So for me, I think that the idea of this whole meme coin and launching, I look at coins today especially where we're going, where TriFi and crypto and DeFi are all going to come together. Candidly, when I saw E-Trade send me an email the other day that said futures are now 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, that already tells me that we're moving into a world where things are going to be trading all the time. And the fact that you can be an Andrew Tate or you can launch any coin and now create a currency out of it where you can now have affiliate products with like mobile phones and other things. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all my business partner who's a securities lawyer always says this. We are our own currency, and people are going to want to buy into that currency or not. And when you look at religion or anything else, and I hate to get into these subjects, they're a form of monetization as well. So you're going to attract to a community. You're going to want to be involved with it, and you are going to want to support it. It's like you go to Costco, you can have discounts. You're part of like the Kirkland brand. Not to say I'm a Costco person, but it's like, Costco, Amazon, or anything else. At a certain point with X getting into their own version of Venmo payments or Zelle, I think the next leg for everybody is going to be everybody having their own token or currency. It's the future to be.
The dad's gone cryptocurrency. I like that. Redeemable at any pub near you.
Absolutely. Listen, it's the best metric I read the other day in the United States, less than 40% of the population believes in religion. Tells me is we are very desensitized. We are moving away from a lot of previous habitual past life tendencies that have been taught to us, and we are all becoming our own people. Hey, today the narrative is we're going to be living on Mars. This is very different than the narrative of 50 years ago. So are changing, people are different. We are all looking at things where what is the community? We're all dads here. We're all looking at like what is the rest of our life have in store for us? I always call it who do we want to play in the sandbox with? And I think that we're going to support those things of the things we feel comfortable with. And that's what we're essentially teaching our kids as well. As my kids are half Jewish and half Christian, they don't identify with religion at all. It's nothing, they were born and raised in Maui, Hawaii, and they identify with nature. They identify with, what makes them feel good. And I think that whether we like it or not, that number of 40% is going to even become very much lower. I just think the world is changing very, very fast at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
Not to say we're all going to be a meme token religion, but we are, what did I read? Megan Fox and Machine Gun Billy are drinking each other's blood. So, I mean,
yeah. There's a lot of weird people out there, and social media just brings them to the forefront, doesn't it?
I mean, if you would have told me that Iggy Azalea was going to have a $250 million token and have a deal with AT&T, like I would have, it's just, but that's where we are. Again, our children and people younger than us, that's what they're, and there's a reason for that, because what they've seen in maybe the older generation are seeing somebody like a Nancy Pelosi that will trade on insider information. They have no faith in that person. They have more faith in like an Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's essentially what DeFi Gold is. DeFi Gold is this idea Satoshi Nakamoto created in 2008, and being able to now uh, apply derivatives and this critical mass to something that, honestly, I think, Bitcoin is going to be a $10 trillion valued product overnight.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's basically creating a digital playground for Bitcoin in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Listen, I was $20 and people told me it was going to zero. I remember when it was $20,000 early on, and they told me. I remember when it was 16,000 last year, and people told me it was going to zero. So at the end of the day, Larry Fink from BlackRock has billions of dollars behind it. There's an ETH ETF coming out. Yeah, I hate to tell you this. If this is $250,000 Bitcoin soon enough, I'd probably change my name. I mean, my price target was 125, but at the end of the day, many countries are looking at doing their own digital currency and using Bitcoin as backing it. So that's where the future is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. I think Bitcoin is the new gold, the new reserve currency, and we're starting to see that all over the place. I mean, look at Tether just put out a another stable coin backed by gold, right? So I think
Totally.
crypto and real world, they're really playing well together now, and I think it's just going to get better and better and better.
I mean,
So
Tether's launching an RGB product, so they're coming into the Bitcoin world too. So I don't think we could be better on this timing.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. So getting back to Rune's Launchpad a little bit, how are you supporting new projects? Can you walk us through the process of how somebody's going to get a project launched on there? Is it going to be just like Pump.Fun where kind of anybody can do it, or is it a little different than that?
It's going to be just like Pump.Fun. So our plan at this point, is we're launching the DeFi.Gold token, doing 3 other tokens that we're doing for our private and public sale investors. So they're going to get a total of 4 tokens. We have a number of JVs that we're doing with companies like Life and a few other coins that we're going to put on the runes, make them a runes token as well. And basically, open this up where anybody can launch their own runes token. And I think that fun of the casino. That's I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a good idea and you're a good marketer and you have the community behind you, why shouldn't you be able to do it? And if we can put in things to limit people, let's say, dumping on their community, and we can put in parameters where there's fair launches, at the end of the day, and tell me that the stock market is not rigged. Let me tell you that the stock market is the most rigged casino in the world. You're getting front run every day by quant traders and other people. So crypto is going to go through its own levels of being able to deal with that type of stuff as well.
David, I saw on your website there was a very interesting word called quadratic bonding curve. It seems to be one of the stars for sure. I'm like,
Lord.
Hey, Grok, hey,
Shadan.
what the hell is quadratic? That word.
I would say the person that came up with that term or uses that term is Shadan, the technical founder, and obviously the bonding curve has to do with, as more people buy the token, the price increases. So in order to have a fair launch, we have, basically a bonding curve that as more the price goes up, and it allows for us to safeguard manipulation of the token. And again, I would say that Shadan is somebody that is very, very technically oriented, has been involved in a lot of different cryptos and blockchains, and he needed to make sure that this was the fairest way for somebody to launch a token. So the way we are launching our token is on the bonding curve as well.
And that is how tokens will launch on your launch.
Yes,
through a
correct,
bonding curve?
correct.
Okay, great.
Yes, it's through a bonding curve, but we call it an LGP bonding curve.
Very cool.
Yeah, same, very similar to Pump.Fun. I think the
Right.
problem with Pump.Fun, and I know that they're working on it, is the snipers and people buying up the supply and stuff. So what we've done is we probably have 50 of the biggest KOLs in the world right now working with us on testing the product. Obviously, Coach K has had a tremendous amount of input. Also, Walid Benenthal, which is one of the founders of Ripple and Uniswap, which is now the CEO of Bitpanda MENA region. He's given us a lot of insight, given that he was involved with Ripple and Uniswap. We're talking original founders of Tether, Reeve Collins and Brock, and, just really making sure we get insight from a lot of people on how this should look. Like right now, we don't want to have a product that is unfair or people feel like they're getting, we don't want the retail investor to get screwed. And I think that's a really big deal for us. And I think right now, with Solana and Ethereum, you have a lot of that, especially with Solana. And I think with any industry with regulation, I would tell you that 2021 was the wild, wild west. I think right now things have calmed down a lot, but I think there's going to be a level of regulatory that's going to come in. I've chatted with a lot of, the countries or regions like the UAE that are looking at, the scamming stuff has to stop, because what happens is people get desensitized and then nobody wants to be involved anymore. So we're definitely playing on the realm of, okay, this is going to be fun, like a Pump.Fun, but also understanding this is about, the NFT marketplace. It's about the DEX. It's about creating this on-ramp, off-ramp product for people to Bitcoin. And that's for me, that's a really big deal for me, because I've always been more of a Bitcoin maxi. So to be able to use my Bitcoin and move it around is a very big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting back a little bit to the Launchpad again, I'm sure there's some of our listeners probably aren't even familiar with how Pump.Fun works. Can you kind of give a little example of how they come in, they can launch a token on your site, how it gets funded, maybe how that bonding curve works a little bit?
Sure. So, I mean, essentially, it's coming in, loading up a picture of the coin, coming up with a name of whatever the coin is going to be, loading in, let's say, a couple $100 or whatever amount of, Bitcoin you're going to put into it, and essentially launching a product. And again, if you look at the projects on Pump.Fun that have been very successful, we've been involved on the insides of these Telegram groups of projects that have actually done well on Pump.Fun. We've also seen the bad parts of it too, where people have said they're not going to sell and then they sell. And we're definitely working essentially, maybe adding, vesting schedules and, limiting to what the people that have actually created the token, if somebody's, buying into multiple wallets and they're controlling 40% of the full supply, we have to be careful with that type of stuff. So those are the internal realms of what we're looking at. Like if you look at a Pump.Fun, 99% succeed. So how do we actually take that where it's more of like the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the projects succeed? So we're really looking at that and understanding, okay, there's going to have to be, token drop schedules. There's going to be limits on how much, the original founders get, and just a lot more transparency in the process.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, David, so we're thinking through everything.
That's great.
David, you mentioned that you guys will be launching in a couple of weeks' time. This is just the launchpad, is that right? not the DEX. So it's just
the product that's launching is the NFT marketplace. So the NFT marketplace is supposed to launch by July 1, and then the plan is to launch the launchpad on August 1 with our token, the first project. So DeFi.Gold, so DeFi.Gold will launch its token through our own launchpad. And I think you want to eat what you kill on your own platform. So we do believe that we might be working with another launchpad as well to launch the token, and we're working through that. I would say that the frequency of the people we work with is very important. And, again, I would say people like Coach K and others have a big influence in who we work with, just because, a lot of these guys are invested in, thousands of projects, and they've seen the good and bad of the space. And unfortunately, with anything else, there's a lot of bad versus good, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the projects that are sitting in the top 10 of, the top 10 biggest coins, there's a reason for that. They've created very strict boundaries, and the type of people that are involved with those projects, there's no fraud behind it. I look at something like Telegram. I see Telegram as a $30-$40 token because of the way they've designed it. A skyscraper, one by one. They don't want it to fall. I think Ethereum and Solana have done the same thing, and we want to be in that type of, amongst those other types of coins.
Yeah. So looking ahead, what are the future plans? You said August 1st you're looking to launch your token and the runes.
August 1st is the gold launchpad. Fourth quarter is launching the DEX, and we candidly want all of our investors to make a lot of money, whether it's the private sale or the public sale. I think we have one of the best token release schedules. So basically, once we actually launch our exchange, 50% of the tokens release immediately. So essentially, we're here to buy. I mean, we've vertically integrated everything where we are the market maker as well. So, and then the next 50% releases in 60 days. So I think that just allows a level of transparency where people are not confused about how the token release, for me, as somebody that is invested in hundreds of projects, the amount changes that happen with projects and the token releases, it drives me nuts. It's the most annoying. It's the most annoying thing possible. And I hear this. So whenever somebody goes, "What are your tokenomics?" I'm like, we have no tokenomics. It's really simple. Every 50% gets released day one, 50% gets released in 60 days. To buy, obviously there's an arbitrage to that, and that's great.
That's great. So you say you're launching 4 tokens though, not just
so the first one will be the DeFi.Gold token, and then throughout the rest of the year we'll launch 3 other tokens that are part of our private sale. Cool. And then like with everything, that's why we got into this. And the fact that we can be involved with, candidly, if you talk to a lot of guys that hold a lot of Bitcoin, really on the Bitcoin maxi side, a lot of them are just now playing with the meme coins. Yeah. A lot of us are just now playing with Phantom and Jupiter Exchange, and we're just now that's a whole area passed us by. Because if you look at our team, not to call us old, most of us are in our 50s. So most of us are right around 50, and we weren't in that era of crypto.
Right.
Yeah, not in a bad thing. I mean, when I remember crypto for myself, when I look at this, I feel like I was more involved in the whole ICO part of it. And in 2021, there was a level of that then, but really this whole moving from Dogecoin and Shiba into what we have today,
Right.
it's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. It's gone absolutely nuts.
I mean,
that's what's so cool. You really have you've hit it exactly perfect, because being able to do this on Bitcoin now, you're right. Everybody's trying to dabble in other chains, but being able to actually keep it on Bitcoin and still get to play with memes and stuff, I think it's going to be absolutely huge.
We all want to do it. I mean, listen, not to say I'm an advocate of gambling, but anybody that's playing in this crypto world or is in public equities has a level of degenerate to them. So the fact that you can, the fact that you can even take 1% of your little degen, of course you're going to do it. I mean, I'd be lying to you to say that, I haven't played around a little bit with the, I think I did a leverage long yesterday or today of beer, like at 10x leverage. Even I like to put, a $500 chip in. I mean, so I just, it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch, and sometimes you make tuition money on it.
So, David, I just wanted to find out that on the 1st of August, just to clarify, so you're only releasing your token, or will anybody be able to come onto the platform?
So in August, we're gonna end up doing our public sale. And then launch our DeFi.Gold token. And again, I know that's changed a number of times, so I know we're talking about August. I would say Shadan is sort of the mastermind, but we don't want to launch our public sale till sort of like, we're looking at kind of the $80,000 price point of Bitcoin. And we think as we get towards the election and all of these candidates go pro Bitcoin, I think we're going to see a lot of momentum in Bitcoin, to be candid with you.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then just to clarify, others will be able to build their projects at the same time, or is it locked off?
No, it will not. Once we're done with our public sale and we actually launch the DeFi.Gold token, we will fully open up the launchpad.
Okay, we just want to know when we could launch our beer Bitcoin token.
Totally, we're gonna. I think what's funny is the beer coin guys are actually launching a water token now next week. So it's kind of I don't know if I'm even supposed to be saying that, but hopefully this podcast is coming. But yes,
let's front run everybody. Come on,
No, you know what? I think it's great. I mean, I read something the other day that really resonated with me, and I can send it to you guys. But I think as the world turns, it's all going to be about authenticity, and we're all going to just get further authentic in terms of what we support and what we do. And I think as a world, unfortunately, we to pretend to be something that we're not. And I think this is the beauty of this new digital world, is that it's fully open source, it's fully decentralized, and hopefully, as long as we're not hurting other people, we can be who we want to be. That's it.
Fantastic. David, well, that concludes our episode for today. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show and sharing some insights onto your project.
I'm very grateful for you guys. I mean, great energy. I was definitely a little scared because I don't know the technical background like Shadan, but as I said, I know enough to be dangerous.
That was great. You explained it very well. I'm sure our audience is going to run out there and check you guys out. So definitely, guys, DeFi.Gold, it's a project you got to keep your eye on. Remember, do your own research, get out there, check them out though. Join their Telegram, check out their website, get out there and get involved a little bit. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all in the next episode of Dad's Gone Crypto.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Aloha.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
Take care, guys. The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.